The pyramids were the ancient world's greatest building project. They were tombs built to hold the mummies of the pharaohs for eternity. They've been around for 4,000 years, but they still haven't given up all their secrets. If it weren't for one man, there wouldn't be any pyramids. In remote Egyptian deserts lie the very first pyramids he built. Exploring them reveals what a genius he was, and how he overcame every disaster. Though unknown today, he was the greatest Egyptian who ever lived, the pharaoh Sneferu. The ancient Egyptians never created anything as fantastic, as breathtaking, or as large as the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Everybody's always amazed with the Great Pyramid. What impresses me most right now is the height. I'm about 40 stories up, and I still have a ways to go. Up until the time the Eiffel Tower was completed, it was the tallest building on Earth. What people don't realize is it's also a marvel of engineering precision. The base is 13 acres, but the sides are perfectly oriented on the 4 compass points. Before a building like this could be built, you had to solve immense engineering problems. The ancient Egyptian builders weren't perfect. There were failures, disasters, problems, and the man who solved the problems, the one who went beyond the disasters, was the pharaoh Sneferu. He's the one who showed Egypt how to build the pyramids.
The pharaoh Sneferu was as well known in ancient Egypt as, say, Napoleon or Alexander the Great. But by a strange quirk of fate, he's almost unknown today. That's because it's his sons and grandsons' pyramids at Giza that are visited by every tourist in Egypt. Everyone knows these pyramids. What is far less known is that these pyramids are the final product of the Great Pyramid building age, the supreme effort of dedicated craftsmen who'd inherited their skills from the previous generation. The pyramids that Sneferu built stand unvisited and largely unknown. Almost as big as the famous Giza pyramids, these are what you could call the prototypes. This is where the art of pyramid building was perfected. But the pyramids say nothing about Sneferu the man. To see what he looked like, you have to go to the crowded Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
This is my favorite place in the museum, and there's never anybody here. But it's a wonderful bit of history. This is the first cartouche in the world. The magical oval that encircles the pharaoh's name. That's Sneferu's name in there. He's the first pharaoh that we have personal anecdotes for. He was a man, and we know something about him as a person. He lived 2,000 years before Aristotle or Plato, but he's not just a myth. He's a human being. We even know something about the way he looked. This is Sneferu on his throne here. But it's not an idealized portrait. It's not a pharaoh staring off into eternity. This is what the guy really looked like. Look at his chin. It's a receding chin. He looks like a nerd. But he was a great man who did great things. He completed the greatest building project in the history of the world. Without Sneferu, we wouldn't have the pyramids. He was pharaoh, but also a god on earth. And as a god, he needed a tomb that was the most magnificent creation the human mind could imagine. He needed a pyramid.
It's amazing, but the 6th largest pyramids in Egypt were all built in a period of less than 100 years. A primarily agrarian culture, using only copper tools, cut, transported, and placed in precise positions more than 10 million blocks of limestone, weighing an average of 2 tons each, to build the pyramids at Meidum, Dashur, and Giza. Imagine moving a large block of stone into place every 3 minutes, day and night, continuously, for 100 years. And this was all without using wheels, which would sink into desert sands. Every block was pulled on sleds or rollers to its final place in the pyramid. They were incredible buildings, perfectly aligned. No mortar was used. Not only were the pyramids massive, they were precise, accurate to a fraction of an inch. There are more than 70 pyramids in Egypt. The ones visited by millions of tourists each year are the successes. Unseen, in remote Egyptian deserts, are the failures, disasters that had to be abandoned. It was Snefru who succeeded and built the first true pyramid. This unknown genius ruled at the beginning of Egyptian civilization. His pyramid was already 25 centuries old when Cleopatra showed it to Caesar. Snefru was the first great Egyptian. In a sense, he was the George Washington of Egypt.